Hey, is this Jamie?
Yeah.
Hey, it's Garrett. How are you?
Hey, bud. How you doing?
Good, man. Did you survive Jazz Fest?
Yeah, I did. I just got back. I just got back to New York, and it's not as cool. New York is cool, but I miss Jazz Fest already, man.
How many shows do you think you
Yeah.
played?
I was there for about a week, and I just did a couple like proper shows. I was playing with Aaron Neville down there.
Yep.
And there were only like a couple of proper shows set up, and then just a bunch of jamming and sitting in. But I also just kind of ate my way through town. I was eating so much of the food.
Of course.
Yeah, it was a blast, man. The weather was unbelievable, and that doesn't usually happen. It's usually super hot and humid, and it'll rain at some point. But it was not humid, and it was beautiful the whole time. It was great.
Yeah, well, New Orleans has always been a city that when it comes to someone passing away, it's always been a city that celebrates that person's life. And I was curious about that vibe and sentiment with the recent passing of Charles Neville.
Oh man, yeah, it was really special. We at first I wasn't totally sure we were even going to play Jazz Fest. When I heard the news, I thought maybe we might cancel, but pretty quickly, word kind of got out from Aaron and management and stuff that it was on, and then it was going to really be like a celebration. We ended up setting up his microphone and having his horn up on stage,
Nice.
like where he would normally play, which was really cool to see. I didn't know that was happening until the day of the show, and to look over and kind of see the horn there was really a trip. And then we all, he always wore like tie-dye shirts. So the whole band wore tie-dye shirts, kind of, and, for him. And, there was just such an outpouring, man, from the fans. There was a lot of family backstage. But yeah, the fans, and then I know like most of the other bands out at the fairgrounds, I just kept hearing people doing tributes to Charles. It was really cool, man. I mean, yeah, you're right. New Orleans is definitely one of those cities where it's, obviously sad, but it's definitely more of a celebration than anything, which I think is really cool.
Well, what was your biggest takeaway in terms of what he brought to the table as a musician, and also what you remember most about him?
Oh man, I mean, his smile and his vibe were just so uplifting. He was always super positive and, always kind of wanting to go for anything. When I first joined the band, there was no rehearsal, there was no audition. It was just kind of show up and, off I went. And each night we would start just the band and Charles before Aaron came out. And I knew Charles had a few songs kind of in his repertoire that he wanted to do, but he would never call the song until we were on stage ready to go plugged in front of the crowd.
Yeah.
So especially like the first few gigs, I was just like flying by the seat of my pants. And then, like just one of the coolest things was, his horn part in Yellow Moon. I mean, all his horn parts are amazing, but Yellow Moon really kind of featured him. And, at the end, it became this thing where I would kind of come center stage with him, and we would have this saxophone and guitar dueling solo, which was just like, that'll just be one of the things that I'll always kind of keep with me, that is just such a special moment, like to be trading solos with Charles Neville, on stage doing Yellow Moon was really, really special. And, he was using a lot of, kind of exotic scales that just really had like a cool flavor to them that, you don't hear a whole lot. So, we really got into that, like on Voodoo and Yellow Moon. It was really special, man, and I'm just super, super glad that I had that time with him.
I feel like that city and that scene is pretty much like a second home to you.
Yeah, it really has become that. unplanned. It's just, I lived there for a long time playing with the Dirty Dozen Brass Band.
Yep.
And, then after Hurricane Katrina, I sort of stepped away and, started my project full time. And then a few years ago, Aaron Neville reached out, and I'm kind of back in the mix there again. And, to be a part of the Neville family is such an honor. And, to be a part of that like super rich Dirty Dozen brass band history. I feel so lucky to have that and to be a part of it. And yeah, it really is like a second home. When I got there last week for Jazz Fest, it really, the first thing I did was just grab a coffee and kind of walk around uptown, where I used to live, and it just all kind of was flooding back to me. It's just a great vibe. I always say it's the only city in America that to me feels like a foreign country in the best best way.
Totally. It's funny you say that. I was the folks in the War and Treaty said the same thing. I don't know
cool.
if you've seen those guys yet, but they're pretty fantastic.
No, I haven't.
But what's the landscape of the JMB look like right now? I mean, I know you got a new album out that you're touring, but you guys are always evolving, always pushing ahead.
Yeah. No, we've been busier than ever. I mean, the last year and a half has just been super busy. We, released the record, which I'm extremely proud of, and the fans really have responded to. The response to this record has been kind of overwhelming. Everyone really seems to be digging it, and we toured a lot last year, and this year has just been kind of nonstop. We put the record out in February, and we were on the road for about 2 months straight, and just took a couple weeks. I was just out with Aaron, and then I leave again.
Yeah.
This weekend for about another month. So it's been really great. The fans have been coming out, in new markets, and we're looking at maybe moving up to some bigger rooms. It's really kind of grown behind this new record.
Well, I was gonna say it feels like you're pushing into a whole new phase of your career right now.
Yeah, I mean, there were after we put out the Live at Gibson record, I got a couple of calls that kind of didn't pull me away from my music, but it definitely took up a lot of my time, where I was working with Brett Dennen and Taylor Hicks, and there was a lot of touring involved with that. So we were Jamie McLean Band. I was still playing and I was still writing, but it was a little bit less. And really in the last couple of years, I've just gotten 100% focused on this and the new record, and it's really gotten cranked up in the best way. Like I said, people are coming out and really digging the record, and later this month we're obviously headlining a bunch of stuff through the South, but then I'm going to link up and tour opening up for Taj Mahal, who's another one of my heroes, which I just feel super lucky to be in the room with a lot of these musical legends.